You get me, me, got you. You get me, feel it, you get me, got you. You get me, feel it, you get me, got you.
It may not happen tomorrow or anytime very soon, but at some point, I believe that this war will lead to the reinstitution of the Oslo Accords in Gaza. I've written an extensive article. I don't want to bore your audience with all the details, but basically, reinstitution of the Oslo Accords in Gaza and Emirati and Arab forces, international forces coming in, boots on the ground, beginning to reconstruct Gaza, and moving Gaza in the direction of what we call permanent status, meaning we will have an opportunity to begin to move from what we call day after to the political horizon. So this very brutal war that began with a horrendous event on our side and then continued with really, as we were fighting Hamas, very significant cost and casualties and destruction on the Palestinian side. Maybe that is the war that will lead to, I don't want to say peace, I want to be very careful, but some sort of a peaceful coexistence in Gaza and perhaps also in the West Bank.
Mm. I will be sure to put a link to that article in Fathom that came out recently. Our mutual friend
Yes.
Agar Shamali sent me that was very helpful. I before we wrap it up, I also wanted to ask you and hear more about Reut Group and Tikkun Olam makers.
So Reut is a think tank that I created in order to deal with challenges that are facing Israeli society, the Jewish world, and the Jewish people. What is unique about Reut is we use a very special methodology that identifies strategic disruptions. We create a vision, and then we go out to try to effectuate that vision. We've worked on Israel's international standing, on economic development in Israel, and also, as I said, on the relations between Israel and world Jewry. It's been a great, great ride with a tremendous group of people. Many of my team members went on to assume significant positions of leadership and authority and influence in Israel. So I'm very proud, not just of our work, but also of the tremendous team that we had. Our goal was always to give every member of the team a formative personal and professional experience that would serve them as they continue a lifelong journey of contribution. And many of them did. So I'm very proud of that. Out of Reut came this project called TOM, Tikkun Olam Makers. We mentioned the concept of Tikkun Olam. It's an ancient Jewish concept that calls upon basically every person to do what they can to make the world a better place. Tikkun Olam Makers is like an innovation arm for people who are vulnerable populations. Meaning we all know, it's well known, that 90% of innovation serves 10% of the population. It's by design. Every startup wants to succeed, so they want to sell to people who have money. So the bottom of the pyramid, the vulnerable populations, are structurally excluded from the innovation economy. And again, I'm not saying that there are no inventions that serve poor people. Obviously, there are. But when you think about in the bigger picture, you could say that they are marginalized. And in developing countries, meaning in poor areas in the world, more so even than developed countries like the United States. So you have 2 billion, 3 billion poor people around the world. And we're looking at them, we're saying, how can we, as an Israeli and Jewish project, how can we help them by creating solutions that will help them? When I say solutions, I'm talking about prosthesis, wheelchairs, devices for eating, drinking, mobility, participation in sports and music, all these things that many of your listeners may take for granted, some people cannot afford. So we developed these solutions. All of these solutions are open source and free. Your audience can go to www.tomglobal.org. You can download the design of the solutions and manufacture them locally. And that's happening all over the world. So our vision is to help millions of people by making this library of open source and free solutions available for anybody, anywhere. Our motto is, by the way, affordable and accessible for anyone, anywhere. So anybody can download and manufacture it locally. You only need basic skills of a junior in high school, basic tools and basic materials to create all of our products. So that's the vision. The vision is to help millions of people through this project.
250 million from what I read.
Yes, 250 million, which makes us a moonshot project. And everybody says 250 million, it's crazy. It's a huge number. And I say, yes, it's crazy, of course. We may never get there. Most likely, we'll never serve 250 million. But when you think in terms of moonshot, if you engage with moonshot thinking, it really pushes you to build your organization to scale. Every element of the organization needs to be ready for scale, which means that you need to invest in the platform, in the process, in the playbook, so that other people can join your movement, and it can really grow exponentially. So we may never get to 250 million, but the number of 250 million inspires us to build a great organization.
That's very inspiring, and I'll be sure to put links to Reut and Tom Global, Tikkun Olam makers in the show notes as well. So how can we follow you, find more information about Reut? You already said Tikkun Olam makers, but say where we can find you online and all the great work that you're doing.
So basically, our website, tomglobal.org, has all of our work. I also have a personal website called gidigrinstein.net. People can, check it there. And there, I mean, I can give you a number of links. Maybe I'll do it over email, but basically,
Yeah.
there are a number of places.
Terrific. Yeah, we'll like I said, that'll be in the show notes. It'll be really easy to find the different activities that you're a part of and the organizations that you're leading. We covered a lot. There's still a lot more to cover. Is there anything important we haven't discussed that you'd like to add, or anything that you'd like to ask me?
So basically, first of all, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be with you, and I just want to acknowledge that we are taping this just before the Jewish New Year, which is basically beginning in Wednesday. And the Jewish New Year is an opportunity to kind of, first of all, obviously for self-reflection, but also to think about the kind of world that we want to see and the kind of world that we want to be a part of. And I hope that we've clearly, the last year has been a very difficult year. It's been a difficult year for Israelis. It's been a very difficult year for Jews. It's been a very difficult year for many other people. I don't want to be kind of self-centered in this kind of thinking. And hopefully the coming year will be a year of more stability, more security, more prosperity, and eventually moving toward peace for our entire region and the world.
Amen. Gidi, this was Toda Rabah. Thank you so much. I'm so
Thank
glad
you
to
very
know
much.
more. So more.
And Shana
I
Tova.
Shana Tova. And I hope we get to do this again. Maybe see you in person when next time I'm in New York or
I'd
you're
love
out
to
in
do
LA.
that. Thank you so much. Of
That'd be
course.
great.
I love LA.
And as always, if you dig what we're doing, remember to follow this show, write that review, and join the conversation on Patreon. It's patreon.com/politics and religion. Go check that out. Get some TPNR swag, the coffee mug, the tote bag, or what have you. Really excited about all of that. Now, go talk some politics and religion with gentleness and respect, and have a great week.